Warm wishes to all. My name is Dr. Sarita, Assistant Professor, B.Ed Department, IIMT College of Science and Technology, Greater Noida. My today's live session topic is idealism. So let's start this topic. These are the outlines of my topic. We will study in this topic about the meaning of idealism, definition, principles, forms of idealism, idealism and meaning of education, aims of education, methods of education, discipline, teacher, child, merits and demerits of idealism, and the contribution to education. Now, first, we will study about the meaning of idealism. Idealism is a philosophical position which adheres to the view that nothing exists except an idea in the mind of man, the mind of God, or in a super or supernatural realm. It deals with certain basic questions of human life. It holds that mind or spirit, as each man experiences it in himself, is fundamentally real and that the totality of the universe is somehow mind or spirit in its essence. To the idealist, the reality is spiritual in nature rather than physical, mental, rather than material. Ideas are eternal and unchanging. Now, these are some definitions of idealism. The first one is to Baker, idealists point out that it is mind that is central in understanding the world. And according to Horn, what is the meaning of idealism? According to Horn, an idealistic philosophy of education is an account of man finding himself as an integral part of the universe of mind. And according to Harold Titus, idealism asserts that reality consists of ideas, thoughts, minds, or selves rather than materials, objects, and forms. Now, these are the principles of the idealism. The first one is two forms of world. Two forms of world are physical world and spiritual world. According to idealist, the spiritual world is more developed and true than the physical world. Physical world is mortal, changeable, and imperfect, while the spiritual world is perfect, immortal, or unchangeable. So this is true. In the opinion of idealist, the supreme goal of life is to understand this spiritual world. Ideas more important than objects. According to James, universe is more like thoughts than a machine. Idealists attach more important to thought than matter. According to them, ideas are not matter, is true and real. The next one is man is more important than nature. According to idealist, man is an intelligent being who attains the knowledge of the spiritual world. Idealist opinion that ideas are more important in the spiritual world and these can be expressed by men only. Faith in spiritual values. Idealists have laid down some spiritual values. These values are Satyam. The meaning of Satyam is truth. Shivam, the meaning of Shivam is goodness. And Sundaram, the meaning of Sundaram is beauty. According to Idealist, these values are eternal, divine, permanent, unchangeable, everlasting, ultimate, and universal. The man who knows these spiritual values come to realize God. The next is importance of mind. The soul or mind is the important basis of idealism. This is not imaginary, it is real. Dr. Sinha has written that half of the world is mind. This is not mechanical. Next is unity in diversity. According to Idealist, there is unity in diversity in all objects in the world. This unity is called by the name of God. All matters of the world is run by this unity. The aim of education is to make a student feel this unity. The next one is God is all source of knowledge. Revealed knowledge is supposed to the words of God and is the only reliable source of the knowledge. The last principle of the idealism is man is not creator of values. Man cannot create values. This philosophy believes that idols are not made by men, rather, they already exist in the world. Man only discovers through his efforts. Now, we will study about the forms of idealism. According to Ross, idealism have different forms. Subjective idealism, phenomenalistic idealism, absolute idealism, personal idealism, and the Platonic idealism. Now, first we will study about the subjective idealism. Subjective idealism, it give more importance to mind or spirit and their perception or ideas. It is a philosophy based on the premise that nothing exists except minds and spirits things, but their existence is not independent of the perceiving mind. Material things are the small perceptions. The next is phenomenalistic idealism. It claims that the physical world is logically created by the organization of human sense experience. As such, it contrasts with and falls between two other ontological positions. The next is absolute idealism. It believes that thoughts, ideas, or mind is the ultimate basis of reality. Therefore, physical things are secondary. Personal idealism, it holds that mind in the only is the only primordial reality and that the whole material universe is a product of mind. The last is Platonic idealism. Platonic idealism is Plato's concept of the perfect forms that everything in material reality comes from, but only as an imitations of these forms. Now, idealism and education. An idealist concept of education is something which leads one to the highest moral conduct and deepest spiritual insight. Education, according to idealism, is a spiritual necessity and not a natural necessity. Education must convert original nature of man into spiritual nature. In the world of trust, education must enable mankind through its culture to enter more and more fully into the spiritual reality. According to Idealist, the best education teaches how to taste the qualities of Satyam, Shivam, and Sundaram. They think that the cultural qualities are the ultimate truth. So, it is necessary to give special emphasis to these qualities. Now, these are the aims of education according to idealism. The first one is self realization. Self-realization by is meant to understand oneself. Each child is possessed of divine qualities. He can attain the ideal state by developing these divine qualities. Self-realization is the ultimate aim of education. Next is personality development. According to Idealist, man is the supreme creation of God. So, his progress is the aim of education. Idealists want to use education to develop the personality of man and to actualize his inherent sublime faculties. The next is development of willpower. Self-realization requires development of willpower. So the teachers should lay down their emphasis on the development of willpower. Man is everything, environment is nothing. The next is universal education. Idealism believes that every man is equally the noblest work of God. Education should be universal without distinctions of wealth or status, creed, caste, or color. It should not be for a favorite fear. Development of moral sense and character. The aim of education is to develop the child's moral sense and thus enable him to distinguish right from wrong, to love God and despise evil. The goal of life as well as of education should be the realization of moral values by developing the spiritual character of the child. The next aim of the education is development of intelligence and rationality. Education should aim helping the pupil to direct his efforts towards understanding these laws. Next is education for all. Idealists hold that every human being must receive a chance to get education. They believe in universal education. And the next is spiritual development. According to Idealist, the goal of human life is spiritual progress, and they consider the attainment of those qualities as essential, which are useful for perfect, eternal, universal, and perennial. So, education should be so provided that each child can experience these values Satyam, Shivam, and Sundaram. Preservation and development of culture heritage. For idealists, the cultural heritage of man and race are very important. According to idealists, it is the aim of education to preserve and enrich this heritage. William Hawking has opined that it is the responsibilities of education to transmit the heritage gathered by the race of its youth. Thus, the youth is benefited by these experiences which the race has gathered in the form of culture. The next is inculcation of harmony in individual and the world. According to Adams, the aim of education is to inculcate the state of synthesis and harmony in individual and world. According to Idealist, each object in the world has some purpose behind it. Everything occurs here for the good. Everything is governed here by certain definite laws, one of which is the principle of unity. The state of harmony can be attained by the following these laws. So, it is the aim of education to maintain harmony in the world and to motivate a child to abide by these laws. The next one is realization of spiritual values. According to Idealist, the spiritual values are Satyam, Shivam, and Sundaram. These values are eternal, everlasting, permanent, unchangeable, and true. They have not been made by man, they are predetermined. Man has got them in heritage. An aim of education is to make a child experience these spiritual values. On experiencing these values, a child's spiritual development becomes possible. In these connections, Horn has said that an individual attains perfection on attainment of these spiritual values. So, a child's educational should be such by which he can attain these spiritual values. And the last aim of education is realization of pure life. Idealists consider the object in the material world and the pleasure deprived from them as false. They emphasize on spiritual development and experience of spiritual values and man's life to be pure. They opine that a child should be inculcated by education the capability of differentiate between good and evil, proper and improper, desirable and undesirable. Only then he will be able to be get spiritual perfection. So, according to Idealist, an aim of education should be realization of pure life. The next is idealism and curriculum. Idealism constructs such a curriculum which is based on the thoughts, ideals, and experiences of man. According to Idealist, the curriculum should comprises of all experiences of mankind, progress of social civilization and culture. Thus, Idealists want to include both type of subjects in the curriculum, humanities and science subjects. Curriculum according to Plato and J.S. Ross, T.P. Nunn, and according to Herbert. Now, first we will study about the curriculum according to Plato. According to the famous idealist Plato, realization of God is the ultimate goal of life. This goal can be realized by adopting the idols of Satyam, Shivam, and Sundaram. According to Plato, these three idols are related to be intellectual, moral, and aesthetic activities. So, the curriculum should enable of all those subjects in it which are essential for a child's intellectual, moral, and aesthetic development. The idealist curriculum includes language, literature, history, geography, mathematics, and science for intellectual development, religion, ethics, and metaphysics for moral development, and art and poetry for aesthetic development. Now, curriculum according to G.S. Ross. Ross has emphasized on two types of activities in the curriculum. The first activities is physical activities. The second type is spiritual activities. Regarding both type of activities, Ross has said, physical and spiritual activities are not of course entirely separable but have certain of common ground. Moral values, which are spiritual, can be found in physical activities. According to him, hygiene, physiological, arts, skill should be included under physical activities and literature, art, poetry, music, religion, etc. should be included under the spiritual subjects. According to T.P. Nunn, the famous philosopher T.P. Nunn has presented an outline of curriculum from idealist viewpoint. He opines that those subjects should find a place in the curriculum which preserve the existence of individual and society and which construct civilization and culture. None has accorded an important place to ethics and religion for the protection of individual and society. Literature history, etc., for the constructions of culture and civilization as important subjects, and mathematics, science, geography, etc., as secondary subjects. And the last is according to Herbert. Curriculum according to Herbert, the famous idealist Herbert has given important place to those subjects in the curriculum which are helpful in the development of morality. Herbert has given an important place to literature, art, music, history, etc., and a secondary place to mathematics, science, geography, and other subjects. Now, idealism and methods of teaching. Now, we will discuss about the methods of teaching according to idealism. The first one is questioning method. Socrates had adopted the questioning method. He used to go the market and there has asked questions on important subjects and demanded answers from the audience. The next is conversation method. Plato changed the questioning method into dialectic method. Dialectic meaning is conversation method. The inductive and deductive method, Aristotle imparted education through inductive and deductive methods. Hegel again adopted the logical methods. The next is simple to complex. Descartes shorts his interest in the proceeding from simple to complex and concrete to abstract. Communist short his interest in proceeding from concrete to abstract. These are the methods of teaching according to idealism. Idealism and discipline. Idealism believes in the strict form of disciplines. According to the idealists, a disciplined mind can tend towards the highest good, that is God. Truth, beauty, and goodness means Satyam, Shivam, and Sundaram are chief values of life. These values can be cultivated through disciplined mind. Discipline must be the product of our moral and cultural standard. We should be internally disciplined. Idealisms believe in that type of discipline which may make the pupil the captain of his own soul. Idealism does not believe in a discipline of external control of the military type. Discipline must take the form of self discipline, self insight, and self analysis. Now, idealism and teacher. According to idealism, a teacher has a very important place in their educational system. Teacher can assist a child in their best development on the basis of their nature. A teacher presents special environment for the mental perfection of a child in his education. The teacher influences a child by his idols, guides him and motivates him for the values of Satyam, Shivam and Sundaram. He assists a child in taking complete control over the environment. According to idealism, the characteristics of a child, idealism believes that the pupil is spiritual being. Pupils are not my bodies without spirit. The pupil is a personality whose foundation is not the body alone, but also a deep underlying spiritual reality. According to Indian idealism, the pupil is Atma. Atma means spiritual self, and the function of education is to enable the pupil to recognize his real nature. The pupil must obey his teacher. He must have qualities like respect towards teacher, concentration, discipline, consciousness, sense of surrender, and sense of discrimination between right and wrong and good and bad. There must be positive and congenial relationship between teacher and taught. Now, these are the merits of idealism. Idealism emphasis on high moral character of the child. It emphasizes on self-realization of individuals by their own efforts. Hence, it promotes universal education. It emphasizes on the principles of self-discipline, which leads to the fullest development of the individual. School became an important social organization due to the idealist philosophy. Idealism is the most ancient and comprehensive philosophy. Idealism lays stress on self realization, which is essential to acquire knowledge relating to the spiritual world. Now, these are some demerits of idealism. Educational aims are abstract. Idealism is criticized for its aim. The criticism said that the educational aims propounded by idealisms are abstract because idealist educational aims pertain to the future. They are beyond the intellectual capability of a child. The next one is not much importance in the modern materialistic world. It is left for idealist philosophy in the modern materialistic world. Nobody pays attention to spiritual values, and truth is this era of competition and contest. Everybody seems to be worried about his present and not future. Food and livelihood are needed and not self-realization. The next is outlook of idealism is not scientific. The outlook of idealism in the field of teaching method is not scientific. Idealism emphasizes lecture or learning by rote methods, while the modern age attaches no importance of these methods. Almost all educationists criticize these methods severely. Much importance to teacher and least to child. Idealism has attached much importance to teacher and least to child. In their view, a teacher occupies the prominent place and a child the secondary place. Now, when education has been made child oriented, the child is the basis of education. Education is imparted, keeping him in view. The functions of a teacher is limited to guidance only. This philosophy is not useful for the present age. Now, what are the contribution to education according to idealism? First one is detailed analysis of educational aims. Idealism is the only doctrine of philosophy which has analyzed educational aims in detail. The aims laid down by proper direction for the attainment of life goals of an individual. The contribution of idealism in this field is unparalleled. The formation of good character. Idealism's second best contribution is regarding given ideals, truths, and values. Idealism's emphasis on imparting such education to a child so that his good moral character can be formed and he can idols of humanity as Satyam, Shivam, and Sundaram. The importance of teacher, yeah, importance of self-discipline. This is the beyond doubt that a teacher's cooperation is essential for imparting any type of education to a child. Idealist gives an important place to a teacher in the educational process and accept him as the maker of the society and operator of the educational system. If such an important place is given to the teacher in a country like India, then several of its problems can be eliminated by themselves. Uh, these are the contributions of to education. So now our topic is over. Thank you so much.